Welcome to Illuminating Future. Today I don't have much to say, so I'm just gonna say what I want. The reason, one of the reasons for which I am doing this kind of formats is because I want to. I have been hearing podcasts, audiobooks, and now videos on YouTube. I have been spending over 2 decades hearing things on the earphones because whenever I am working, I need to use earphones, and my job does not require to talk to people, so it's kind of a meditation, and I've been doing it for over 2 decades, and I always wanted to have a podcast when they were called podcast. Um, I always wanted to do it, but I never did. Now with YouTube, it gives the option to do easy things, and even if nobody hears them, I am pretty sure that even in 10 years, people will be able to find my channel, our channel, and get something good from it. So it's kind of a narcissist kind of a sentiment to be doing this, mostly for me, because nobody else hear my videos. That's the reality, and I don't have that much experience talking. Like for instance, there are some YouTubers that have a lot of viewers. There is one that I really like a lot, and from which I'm drawing inspiration. The name of the channel is Steve Lito. He's a man that he's a lawyer and talks about things about law. He has experience talking on radio. He's a lawyer, so he's very well versed in the art of words. That's one of the main reasons for which he is so successful. There is a lot of successful YouTubers that sit in the chair and talk without adding any sort of images. There is another one that I like, Sam Tucker. I don't remember his name well. He talks about technology and those Apple parodies and parodies about news on technology. He uses AI, and but he has a team. He's married. He's been doing it for I believe 10, 20, 15 years doing YouTube videos daily, which is if you don't have if this is your job, then yeah, it's very easy to be making them daily. But if you work in construction and then you get home and then you want to make videos, it's super tiring because you are already super tired. And it's really complicated. But that's the reason for which we are warriors. We are warriors trying to fight our own fights. And doing videos is a fight that I wanted to do for quite some time. And yeah, another thing is yesterday I did a video, a song, a cappella, which means with no music, just me singing. I always like it to sing. I'm not a singer, I never studied singing. But singing is something that comes out of the spirit, and it's a way from which flowers come out of our mouth. I always like to tell people that whenever we talk, we have to make it seem as if flowers are flowing out of our mouth, because that's how many I have been reading all my life, reading and hearing, and so I've learned that in the past the Native Americans used to have a singing voice, a singing accent, and not only Native Americans but all ancient cultures used to have the method of talking had to have a singing accent in order to reflect the nature, the pretty, the beauty in nature, and and that's why I've learned that the best thing is to have a singing voice, and that's the reason I made my video. I wanted to make a video about how a woman lost the ability to connect to the spirit because um, I was thinking in nuns, because nuns they always searched for higher the higher spirit, and I wanted to show that it's about time we start returning to the ways of the spirit. Yeah, that's one thing. Another thing I wanted to talk is about economics. 2 or 3 days ago, I made a video about economics, and I made a little mistake on explaining the lending system. And I wanted to talk about Baltimore. Baltimore is a place that it is, but at the moment it was the downtown. It was falling apart. It is falling apart, but that's mostly because predatory real estate practices that are the leeches of the system, and extreme rent prices, higher rent prices, are what is creating the economic obliteration of the downtowns, because people is not buying and the rents are eating the businesses. So a few years ago, a JP Morgan executive, I don't remember his name, I could look for it, but yeah. Everything that I'm saying is out of my mind, so you can know that I'm not talking like many presenters. They talk with numbers and charts, but mostly it's because it's AI the one giving them the numbers and the charts. So I'm just talking about experience, my own experience, which is the only thing that I have to share. And so this JP Morgan executive, he separated 100 million into an account for a small business lending. So he used 100 million from the portfolio, which is very little because those companies, they manage hundreds of billions. So 100 million is like a drop in the water. So he used that money to micro lending, and the micro lending came back with returns of 95% success rate at the beginning, because when you lend money, the first thing that you have to get is your profit. So if you lend 100 million and then you get the profit quick, and then if people do not pay, then you just market it as a loss, and the investors take the loss, and you're your. But in this case, the return was extremely positive. But what I'm gonna talk is fast forward 2 years after that fact, and now Baltimore is again falling into economic decay. Why? Because a small business, they got the money to invest in their business, but there is not an external flow of income, because government has cut all extra expenditure. Government is shrinking, and it's cutting unnecessary spending. and that's the reason for which many cities are falling. And even if you buy, you lend money to the small business. If the faucet of money is closing, then no amount of lending is gonna save a city. That's what I wanted to talk. Now there is a trend on banks that I've been noticing for the past 6 months, in which if you have an LLC, limited liability company, functioning for 2 years with normal income and 2 years of a business. If you have 2 years on a business, then you qualify for 100,000 loan with 25% interest, which is super nice because I saw on YouTube people that go into loan sharks. They end up paying 100% interest, and that's what makes me upset, because the banks should have been doing the micro lending from decades ago. I remember in 2000, in the early 2000s, when I started hearing audiobooks. There was one about Stephen Cohen, I think it was the name. Maybe I'm mistaken, but yeah. And he used to talk about the micro lending, how it started in the 70s, I think, in India, and fast forward 50 years, now we are in the United States, experience the same system, but not well. It's micro, because 100,000 is like it's not much, but for somebody with nothing is really the table of salvation. I know people that with 50,000 they've managed to build their business that lasts for 10 years with no debt. Well, yeah, I mean, COVID and everything destroyed many business, but if you have a business for 10 years, then you are a successful person, because you are going through the most difficult times in America. Well, everything was predicted 50 years, 30 years, 20 years ago. I know it because I have been reading the predictions, economic predictions. They have been explained, and everything is explained. The only problem is that people with very short attention spans, they cannot remember anything. That's why they think that a wave it's something that moves their emotions, because they don't understand that they are seeing the ocean, and the ocean is rippled by waves. So in that case, we need to fly high in order to have a higher vision. So we need to become like eagles. Eagles are the animals that fly the higher, at least until the moment, and that's why I am trying to explain my vision, so people can stop having a surface level view and start looking down instead of looking up. When you look up, it's hard to understand the future, and when you look down, it's easy to understand the future. I know that it's really hard for me to explain things, because it requires a certain degree of understanding to understand what I'm saying. But still, I hope that in the future somebody will understand and will subscribe and will like the videos. That's what I want. I am a man of. I consider myself a man of resilience. So I am hoping that at least during this year, a year that I have the channel, we have the channel, because we are a team. Even if it's only me at the moment, there is a whole lot of people supporting me and encouraging me, and that's the reason. And let me think, what else. Well, I want to talk about, every day I think about things to talk about. I want to talk about the difficulties of working. I want to talk about the difficulties of experiences, how a single mistake compounds and like the other day I made a small mistakes out of trying to do things quickly, and that mistake went compounding mistakes until it made me lose a day, and then it made me lose the peace of mind, because having a business with added value products creates a um, creates a, when you have a mistake, they compound, and then it hits the conscience, because you are thinking of the past mistakes every day. You are thinking of the mistake, and whenever you see it's overwhelming. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm talking about it already. So let me think what else I wanted to talk. All of this is I'm just skimming the surface of the future, what I'm gonna be talking about, because I need to have a better understanding of what I wanna say. Today I did not think of anything, but I feel that I want to make my videos. The reality is that I hear my videos in the YouTube when I'm wearing my earphones, because it helps me to keep my mind quiet, and also it helps me to understand where I made the mistakes. So if my video has 30 views, most likely half of them are for me, because I'm hearing them in order to have a better understanding of my mistakes, my strengths, and yeah. I'm also an artisan. I'm an artist. I'm a I'm a I'm a man of many talents, but I'm not. If we meet on the street, you will never see a successful man. You will see a poor bum that is trying to make the day. That's the reality. But in my mind, I'm a successful man, I'm a capable man, and if the situations have been positive for me in life, by now I am the equivalent of a general, I'm the equivalent of a CEO. That's how I consider myself, even though, as I say, if we meet, we won't be talking, because I don't talk to people um, unless I have a purpose. Uh, uh, yeah, and in this moment, my only purpose is to be successful in YouTube. I know that YouTube has many bad connotations, because people get starts criticizing the most minimum mistake, and I am sort of a very sensitive person. That's the reason for which yeah, yeah. And let's see what else. I also make lamps out of a translucent stone. I used to make these things. I used to make them. I also believe in, not believe, but I also like the idea of magic. And as you can see, I have my figures. Uh, I'm also an artisan. Once I made a mask, and I'm still using it. Um, I made my mask out of ideas from Mircea Eliade, uh, thesis, uh, papers that he made in the 50s. And yeah, So every single thing that we experience is what shapes us. Uh, yeah, and what else? What else? Let me think. Um, yeah. And yeah. Well, I don't want to take more of your time. I really appreciate that if you are watching on up until now. I'm really, my heart goes out to you because it really helps me. If you click like and if you click subscribe, it means the world to me. Every single subscriber is a jewel to me, and even though you don't have to be hearing my rants every day, I'm really happy that the universe is allowing us to collect our collective thoughts into a platform in which we can leave a legacy for future societal archaeologists to investigate how we used to live on this time and age. And yeah, like for instance, I used to read a lot, and I read when Spanish Spanish man, after many tribulations, got lost with a group of other Spanish men. Not all of them Spanish, some Africans too, and they got lost on the tip of the southern tip of Florida, and they had to walk all the way towards what is now known as Mexico. And well, he walked all the way. I think that up until what it's called, something called Veracruz or something like that, and that's when yeah. So what I wanted to say is that during his travels, he found complete towns, and maybe not cities, but groups of people. And so I always think that in the millions of people that have lived, we are very fortunate to be able to share our thoughts, because no other human has been able to do it in a massive scale like we are doing it now. So yeah, and mhm, mhm. Um, well, that's what I wanted to say. Not much, but I will be thinking on something new to say tomorrow. Uh, Thank you.